Daggerheart has been out for over a year and it's doing seemingly very well for itself. But if there's one thing the internet, and Reddit especially, has been asking for, nigh begging for, it's more content. Well, we got it. And we got it early. This is the new Daggerheart Hope and Fear Deluxe Edition with the new book, GM Screen, Fear Tracker, dice, and more. And a few surprises too. The question is it any good? This is the unboxing. Okay. So, here it is, the Daggerheart Deluxe Edition box that arrived today early, and it is very, very nice. If you bought the original core rulebook Deluxe Edition, it's going to feel very similar. When is she supposed to ship to us standard nerds? I think you'll get them any day now. I'm a standard nerd. I bought this with my own money, so you guys should get it hopefully soon. Zaintis, you said I have the STD. Just so you know there. You said you have an STD. Okay, so I want to make sure you guys can see this properly. Standard box, very cool art. I actually think I might prefer this box art to the last one, though they're both very, very good. But it's just like a bunch of magical dudes fighting a giant monster adversary guy and some knights down here. Cyan, or this kind of blue-green color, is now the color of fear, and this orange is hope. A lot of people seem to have an issue with that. And then if I go like this, it opens up. Oh, okay. This is not going to be useful to watch when I say this, but it smells really nice. There's a nice little tab here to help me pull these out. And the first thing we have is the GM screen, which is once again 3 panels, perfect for a Hope and Fear tracker up here. And hold on, let me look at this fully. I want to see how different it is. It looks very similar to the last one, actually. There's quick reference, which is got stuff like what advantage and disadvantage is, how to help an ally, group action roles and tag team roles, which are really important. Then you got conditions, hidden, restrained, vulnerable, temporary conditions. You got short rest and long rests, what you can do, and that kind of takes up this first panel here. On this panel, you've got difficulties, so like 5 is very easy, all the way up to 30, which is nearly impossible. And then you've got action roles, how to roll fundamentally in the game, and what success with hope and success with fear and failure with fear and critical successes mean. We've got some information here about adjusting battle points for adversaries, which you had in the last one, including stuff for improvising adversaries, which I do really like. So I can look down here and I can just kind of throw together an adversary very fast. What else is on here? You've got your character traits, agility, strength, finesse, instinct, presence, and knowledge, and what they kind of mean. And then on this panel, you have GM moves. So examples of things you can do as a GM, GM best principles, and GM best practices, which I don't like, if I'm being honest. This feels like it's in the book, and you kind of pick it up and you learn it, and you're never going to be in the moment. I think everything on a DM screen should be in the moment, what is useful, while playing the game. And I don't think looking over and seeing hold on gently being too helpful in that moment, you know? I mean, maybe for some people it can be, but that takes up a lot of this stuff. And example GM moves as well. Could be useful. It could be useful, but I feel like they could... do I see anything about currency here? No. That's what I would have liked. I would have liked, like, you know, what does a handful of gold on average get you? It might be on here, I'm just missing it. There is a lot of information on here. So it's like reading 3 pages of the book and knowing everything on there. But that's something I will have to really deep dive into. Ooh. Feels very samey to the last GM screen from the last Deluxe Edition, which is okay. Sad that feels like a waste of a panel. I'm sure some people... The problem with the GM screens, I almost said DM screen, is that it's kind of subjective. Like, everybody has different problems with different things. For some people, things come more easily than others. And for me, I will be like sticking stuff over this, like I have done with my last GM screen, which I think is downstairs. But I like stuff like, you know, what can a handful of gold get me, for example? Like, how much is a stay in the inn? How much is a pint of ale? How much is a horse? How much is a magic item? That kind of thing. It might be on here. I might just be being a fool and missing that information. But I also just am not a fan of like absolute walls of text. I would prefer like less information that was easily to see at a glance. It is what it is. It's a nice GM screen though. Like the front of it, very, very nice. I think I will be using this one moving forward just for the look of it. Okay, so next up, here, let me take all these out of here. Quick jump in here. If you like Daggerheart content and want to see more of it, consider becoming a Patreon member or a channel member here. It means I get more money. And the more money I get, the more Daggerheart videos I can make. Every little helps. Just watching this video this far is a huge help, so thank you. Okay, back to the video. Whip pan sound. This is everything in this top container. I'm very excited to get to the low container. So, we have character sheets, very useful. Mostly character sheets and new equipment sheets as well. There's a lot of equipment in this new book and loot and stuff. Then there's campaign fame maps and things to help run them at the back there, which is very, very nice. I found these pages of the original so useful, and I will be printing out more of those. Oh, and then we have these, which are the, I believe, the adversary pads. So you would note down your adversary, note down what kind of adversary it is. I don't know how useful that is. And then you can note down its experiences and what it can do. So you can just write on this and scroll on it, cross things out when you need to. I was doing this on just a notepad. I have a notepad downstairs, which is just full of random numbers and details about adversaries. So these are nice. I have 3 of them. There's actually a lot. Are these all the same all the way through? Yeah. Okay. So I'm never going to need... I'm never going to need another adversary pad as it is. I will definitely be using these. Very, very cool. I honestly think simplified gold makes things a little more complicated than just having a number. That's just a me thing. Yeah, I know some people have bounced off that for sure. As a GM, I like it. I think maybe as a player, it might be a little bit more whatever. But yeah, you can change that to normal currency very easily though, I guess, if that's what your table wants. But for me, I never liked having exact numbers because it led to, like, the players would loot something. I'd be like, I want to give you something. Here's, 2 gold. It would always be like these weird numbers that you just saying handful of gold. It takes so much pressure off, and it doesn't really matter too much in general. For me, I've not noticed any downsides to doing it. There's never been a moment where I've been like, man, I wish I knew I had exact number. And once you go down the exact number route, it means that, like, all items in the world have to have an exact number. All people in the world have to be carrying an exact number. And it's just, I don't know. I see why they changed it. I think it does make it easier for me and my table. All right, let's see if we can get into the book. Hold on. Okay. I'm in, lads. This book's really, really nice. It does feel, because it is, a lot lighter than the last core rulebook. Like, holding it feels a lot thinner. Get out. See, when you get the standard edition, it won't look like this. Where are the tabs? There they are. Flat in the middle of the book. So we have the... Oh, hold on. Oh, I see. Oh, I thought this was damaged then. So, got these tabs, like last time. The color decision to go for this, like I said, it's green or the blue, depending on the lighting. I think it's like teal. Very, very nice. And just automatically, the kind of quality of this book, the initial quality, feels nicer than, like, most books out there. I know some people were complaining about the core rule book just being too thick for its spine and cover, and people were saying that they're having some issues with that, and they were hoping that this would be better quality. I don't think there's going to be any issues with that with this anyway, just because it is shorter, just because it is smaller. It's 196 pages, so I think it's like almost 100 pages less than the core rulebook. Yeah, actually disappointed that they used the same art for the book and GM screen. I would have liked something different. Yeah, I mean, This, you got to remember, this isn't the official GM screen. This is just like the limited edition version. I like that it matches. I like that we know that these two are linked. I do look forward to seeing what they do with their actual GM screen. I presume it's going to be very similar to this, but I don't mind. I think having everything unified looks very, very cool. If I put them all on the table at the same time. Good God, it's beautiful. Yeah, Dante. No, this is very nice. And I'm not actually... I've read through the digital version. I was reading through it and I was working on my my review for it so far. Because I do have some thoughts. But I really struggle with PDFs in general. I find it so much nicer to read these kinds of books physically. I don't know what it is. There's just something about PDF where I zone out. Actually having the physical books makes a world of difference. Looking through the PDF, my original thought was... holy crap, they outdid themselves with the art. Like, I think that there's changeling art. Let me see if I can find it. You guys not be able to see it from this distance. They also have these gorgeous, like, full-page illustrations of, like, these sketches of locations, which are very, very nice. I don't have a ton of them, but they're very, very cool. Changeling. Oh, sorry, not changeling, shapeshifter. That's my bad. That's because I'm D&D headed. This changeling art is like some of the best art I've ever seen. I don't quite know why, it just made me feel something. I think when I was doing my notes for the review, there's something about the art in this book. More so, like the art in the core of the book was very, very good. In this specifically, there's so much color and vibrancy in the art, and it's always in action. It's always like there's movement going on and there's some kind of change. Action. There's always action going on. And it shows so much personality. Like, all these characters have so much personality, which you may be like, it's a TTRPG book. You're supposed to be creating your own version. Maybe you don't want too much influence of like, you know, this is how they should be. They get around that by just having such a variety and diverse, like, collection of characters that you can't help but like not think that, oh, this is the way that all humans are or all gnomes are. It really does do an amazing job of just giving you this variety, which I absolutely love. Yes, the art always looks very dynamic. Yeah, but I think they have outdone themselves here. It's really, really nice. And obviously I won't get a chance to play around with it too much. I have played around with a lot of this stuff while it was in the void, but just from an unboxing and first look through it, two things strike out to me. One, it's gorgeous. I'm actually very, very happy with it. I have a few nitpicking things, which I'll go through in my review. But most of the nitpicking things I have are because they spoilt us with the core rulebook. The core rulebook was so good that I think they spoilt us a little bit. I'll give you one nitpick thing I have about this. And I do question the choice, bringing out another book, which is like multiple kinds of books in one. So you've got the adversaries in here, you've got the environments, you've got the loot and the equipment, you have the character options, and you have the campaign frames. I think moving forwards after this, I hope that they actually start making individual books for adversaries and individual books for DM advice and equipment and that kind of stuff, and individual books for player options. Just because now I've got two books that are kind of like feel like they should be one very big book, or like three individual books, like a DMG and a player's handbook and an adversary's manual. I just think getting through this is gonna, if they keep going down this route and I get more books like this, it's gonna be hard to like find stuff. Depending on the book. For example, there are, in the environments, it has some like potential adversaries, and some of the potential adversaries in the environments of this book are from the core rulebook. So if another book comes out like this, which we don't know if they're planning to do, then it's going to be like, what book are these adversaries from? But that's me nitpicking. Very happy with this. Cannot like wait to read through it fully. I'll get my review out. Cannot wait to like play with it all, specifically the adversaries and the environments. So we'll see how I feel after all that. But I'm quite optimistic about it so far. Okay, let's see what is in this little secret compartment, shall we? Oh, this feels so much lighter than the last one. Open this bad boy up. Okay, so we have two sets of cards. My other thing is, I know they've said they don't want to do like bloat with like abilities and stuff like that. I'm worried about bloat with cards. I'm worried about the fact that in 5 years' time, I'm going to have so many Daggerheart cards. These are gorgeous. Gold plated, not gold plated. They've got the gold, the foil kind of sides, very similar to the last ones. I don't want to open them up just yet, but the art looks fantastic on them. Of course, I'm gonna have to buy a normal core rulebook because I don't want to use these in game. Oh, okay. Where to start? Let's do the fear trackers. I think that's what these are. Read the PDF, man. They made such great. I was looking through all the equipment, and holy crap, there's so much stuff there. It's very cool. Which of the new campaign frames do you want to play with first? The what's it called? The Sky High one, the Wizard School one. Okay, so there's 18 of you in Twitch right now, so I get one of these. I get one fear for every person in chat. Unfortunately, I don't have that much fear, so I'll just put them all up. 1, 2. Okay. This is going to have to be something I'm getting used to, just because it's kind of hard to see a little bit where the gap is to slide these on. But they're a nice color. I think this is a very nifty idea. Do they slide well? Okay, so I can still kind of use it as an abacus very easily. Okay, no, I take it all back. As long as like my players know which side is hope and which side is fear, I can be like, I'm going to spend a fear and do this, you know? I can live with that. That's pretty cool. How do you guys think that looks? They're very cool. They're a very good idea. I think I prefer like an abacus style one where there's like a bar that you slide across, where it's just one thing. I know I'm going to lose one of these. I know a cat is going to knock it deep under the depths of our oven, never to be seen again. And when that happens, it's just like, welp, the whole thing's falling apart. Okay, so in this bag, and I apologize for not having like another camera that I can cut to show you close-ups here. Oh, okay. So in this bag, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 duality dice. And they're the weird shape, which I love. I have a issue with my duality dice, though. I hope I can get my players to use these, because the original Deluxe edition of the core rulebook came with like really nice duality dice, and I keep trying to get my players to use them, but they all have their kind of favorite dice sets already. They've gone and got their own D12s. No one wants to use my nice dice, and now I've got even more really nice dice, so hopefully they use them. These are way too close in color. They are a different color, but these are way too close in color. Yeah, no one's using those two. But the rest, very, very solid. I like the blue one. I like the blue one for my hope and the red one for my fear. Yeah, those will be my two. There's also just like a black and white one. That's the biggest crime of Daggerheart. I understand why they did it, but the fact that GMs never really use duality dice, crime. I guess I could just use them as D12s. Ooh, okay. So, in this bag, it's just a full-on dice set. I see, I've got duality dice again in this dice set, so I guess players can use this as well. And then a chunky D20, which I like a lot. Hold on. Doesn't roll very well, though. Yeah, it's okay. But I do like a chunky boy. So, that's it. That's the full thing, I think. Is that a little dent in the cover from the chunky dice? Don't say that. Did I dent it? Are you messing with me? Is this like when you guys convinced me I had a dent in my own head? No, there's no dent. There's no dent. Get out of here. Well, never opening that book again.